No,
I think 3 weeks.
I think it's coming up pretty soon. It's
The
it might even be
bye
after next week.
brutal.
But this happens to be a Pittsburgh show, so
It is. It's true. The bye is off.
All right, Porch, the Sports Porch Pittsburgh. Thank you for watching on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on X, all over the world. And of course, we're going to drop that podcast. It's the one we're making right now.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to drop it right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And that felt good. And you can always visit us at theporcheslive.com, theporcheslive.com.
Theporcheslive.com.
Someday we'll get that right. Absolutely. So welcome to the show.
Welcome yourself.
Welcome yourself. Okay, listen, guys, thanks for being here as always.
That television is really distracting.
It is. Do you want me to turn it off?
No, I kind of like watching the pregame of the Monday night game while we're doing the show.
We're in our rejiggered studios, so everything's looking pretty good. I want to thank you for being here. Remind you that you can always grab the Sports Porch podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. After the show, please subscribe, leave us a review. We would love that. And I'm going to drop a comment right now. This is where you can listen to it on Radio PGH. That is our internet radio station. If you can't watch the show, you can always listen to it in the car. Just go to Safari or your browser, click that link in the comments, and you'll be on Radio PGH. And it's a live interactive show, unless you're listening on the podcast. You can always call in at that phone number down there in the ticker, 412-805-7236. No prank calls, please. All right, guys, listen.
Aren't they all prank calls?
Most of mine are. Yeah, most of mine are. So, look, it's we got like a fight. In our new studio, we got a great big TV up there.
It was moments ago.
All the time. And moments ago, there was a brawl between the Cowboys and the Chargers on the sideline. Kind of reminiscent of that Cleveland Browns, San Francisco 49ers.
There was no fights thrown, no punches thrown, just a bunch of people yelling at each other.
Just a bunch of people getting chesty.
Yeah, that's not a fight. That's more like I'm bigger than you are. No, you're not. I'm bigger than you are. And then everybody gets together and then they're like, oh, okay, you're both big.
I hate that.
I'm going to own you all day, baby.
What'd you say, Schwarber?
I'm going to own you all day, baby.
All right, listen, guys, let's get into it. The bye week, was it a week of respite for you since the Steelers were not going to? For me, it was like I don't have to watch a Matt Canada offense.
Yeah.
Yes. Breath of fresh air, I thought.
No, it's nice because all week long you're thinking, okay, what do I have to think about this weekend? Who do I have to get worried about? And this week you just get nothing, and they won. So it's like you're kind of taking that win into the bye week. So you're feeling good.
Right.
And you don't have to think about the next opponent and your team's getting more healthy. So these are all good things except for the healthy thing.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah.
Although it sort of was a big negative that all three division teams won.
Yeah.
Well, I have to admit, I actually think the 49ers are pretenders without CMC. I really do.
Yeah.
So I wasn't surprised by Cleveland, but
what kind of an injury does he have?
Well, we'll talk about that. But as far as the Bengals go, I really thought they were going to lose that game to Seattle, and Geno Smith is starting to lose his magic. I think he's just not good as a quarterback for the Seahawks.
Well, that would probably be, he wasn't good his whole career except for last year.
Yeah, but last year he was pretty good and he actually started off pretty good. I don't know. I think he's really, I don't think he's never been the guy.
That's what
but he definitely proved he was not the guy against the Bengals. He had a chance to win that game, I think, twice and blew it both times. So that one was definitely disappointing. But honestly, Cleveland's defense is pretty good, and all you have to do is stop CMC, and it's easy to stop him when he's in the locker room.
Yeah, I'm still a Brock Purdy fan though.
Brock Purdy could have won that game twice.
He did go,
he only threw for 125 yards.
He did go turd pretty bad there.
Yeah. No, he's not the guy who's going to single-handedly win games for you.
Right.
Even with Shanahan, and that's why I think he's still a very good quarterback, certainly better than Kenny Pickett.
Right.
And better than Sam Howell, better than most of the other quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But I think his offensive coordinator and having the best running back in the league really helps him out. Look what happened to Jimmy G when he left. He was terrible with Vegas before he got hurt.
Yeah.
Now, who knows, maybe out of football.
Yeah. What does everybody say about turd? They say system quarterback. No CMC, no Deebo Samuel. You look like a system quarterback to me.
Yeah, but you know what? They said that about Brady for a while.
Yeah, and then he just went and won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. Of course, he had a lot of experience.
And I think there is actually something special about being a system quarterback, to be honest with you, because if you're the quarterback, you're got to be the best guy on the field. And if they're writing plays just for you, then that's going to work out well for everybody, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts didn't have a great game this week, but he's somewhat of a system quarterback. The guys they make the game around him. He's the guy who stirs the drink, and when he throws 3 interceptions, they're going to lose, and that's the first time he's done it.
But couldn't you say that, I guess, about every quarterback, every offense? I mean, didn't they design the offense for Peyton Manning to play to his strengths?
Well, I think the good quarterbacks, they do. I don't think they do for the average.
Well, they can't figure it out, like the Kenny Pickett's of the world, and unfortunately, we have the Matt Canada.
Well, which is why I'm saying Brock Purdy is an okay quarterback. I just don't think he can get the job done. They can't design a game where Purdy goes out there and throws the ball for 45 times and they win.
That's true. So Luke says, hello, what's up, Luke?
Hey, Luke.
All right. So do you consider the bye week a W? Let's go there. That was Steve's diatribe, by the way, Schwaber.
Yes.
About one quarter of Mark's.
Let's get DG's, with all the knows in there, right? Let's get DG's comment in here. DG, what's up? Purdy had an off game. His passes weren't nearly as accurate, seemed to have trouble. One play, the ball dropped out before the pass. Right. So, hey, look, it's any given Sunday. All right. Who'd have thunk yesterday that not only would the Eagles lose to the Jets, but the Browns would beat the 49ers and the Bills would almost lose to the Giants.
Yeah, that was surprising.
And Tyrod Taylor. When that came on the screen. So let's talk about the Steelers. Okay. When I say, do you consider the bye week a W? You know what I mean by that.
Oh yeah, it was
it?
Yeah.
Was it really? Because you were complaining before we went on air.
The only thing that I complain about with the bye week is the fact that Dan Moore Jr. got healthy and now will be the starting tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers, which just absolutely blows my mind. Broderick Jones is by far the better talent. I mean, it's not even close. You shouldn't be chanting, fired Canada. You should be put frickin' Broderick Jones in there. That's what I want to hear. That's a cheer I want to hear.
Can we come up?
Oh, yeah.
Put frickin' Broderick Jones in.
Okay, well,
it doesn't work.
Yeah, you're right. It's too many words.
Right. But
Jones in now. Jones in now.
Yeah.
How about that one?
Yeah. Well,
Jones in now.
According to you.
Jones in now.
According to you.
Jones in now. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you feel me? Can you hear me?
No, definitely not.
According to you, you may or may not have actually started the Fire Canada chants at the hockey game.
Well, that is absolutely false. Yeah. I would never start something as stupid of a chant as that at a hockey game. There are times there are absolutely times to yell Fire Canada at a Penguins game. No,
really.
On the West Coast, when USC's playing Washington, when Washington is playing Oregon, no.
Yeah.
When you're at home at a Steelers game and you want to get Tomlin's attention, sure, you can do it there. That's fine.
I'm looking for the text where you actually said that.
What I said in my text is, it may or may not be true. I just started a Fire Canada chant.
Yeah. Okay.
And guess what? It's not true.
Yeah. Well, why would you even hint that it may?
Well,
Well, see,
I like to take credit for things sometimes that I don't come up with.
Here's the problem. And I know, and Schwaber can back me up on this. Okay.
I got your back.
Yeah. The whole thing, it may or may not be true that I started look, Steve's had a couple beers. He's at a sporting event.
I get a little loud.
Any random sporting event, would he chant, would he scream "Fire Canada"? Is that a yes or no?
That's a yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well then it's absolutely true that I didn't start it because I had 0 beers at the home opener.
Yeah, that's still not an excuse for your idiocy. So
neither is drinking beer.
Apparently this is DG's show because he's the one getting in the real comments here. Aside from the team getting rest, I see our bye week as a loss because I believe that not a damn thing will be changed.
No, they're going to go back to what didn't work. That's actually a setback.
And Luke wants to know if you Crown Royal Peach.
No, but that sounds good. I'd be down with that, Luke. Funny. Hey, Luke, if you want to send me a bottle, I'll try it out.
That's happened before too.
Somebody did send me Crown Royal once, as I believe.
And you may or may
they're
not
all gone.
You may or may not have started an "F.U. Brady" chant at a Tampa Bay game.
Oh, well, yeah. I definitely would have started that chant at a Tampa Bay game versus Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I'll have it. Not at a Penguins game.
Okay.
Playing the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Okay, so
have you been drinking this evening, Steve?
No, I'm just thrilled that the Steelers actually had a bye week that I could enjoy, and now I get to deliver hell for the next 9 weeks.
There you go.
Along the rest of the
Welcome
season.
to hell.
That's right. So
I do think that it's only going to get harder from this point out for the Steelers. Honestly, very difficult.
I agree with you. I am not at all pleased with the news. The same as you. That first of all, that Broderick Jones is now back on the bench, and second, that Joey Porter is most likely not going to be starting. Now, look, in the NFL, it doesn't always matter who the starter is because you may come in for more plays than the actual starter. But on the offensive line, the starters are the guys that generally play the whole game.
Yep.
And cornerbacks, your 2 cornerbacks, not your dime guy, not your nickel guy,
right?
They usually play the whole game.
Yep.
So it does matter in this case. And I have first of all, Broderick Jones is one that I can accept a little easier. I don't accept it completely, but because Dan Moore Jr., if you could take the 2 things. First, the offensive line, it's a unit. They have to play together.
Mm-hmm.
Second, what did he do to lose his, now I know you have an opinion on this, but what did he do to lose his starting spot? Nothing. He got injured. So
right
now
that's often why people lose their starting spot, like Drew Bledsoe.
Thank you, Mark.
Right.
Thank you. And so, but see, the thing is, I'm in agreement though. Jones should be starting.
I know.
I'm just saying there are excuses that they can come up with.
Oh yeah,
that sound plausible.
Tomlin's number 1 is always, you never lose your spot if because of an injury.
I've heard him say it, and
he says it all the time. And
so he's being consistent to his coaching style.
It's dumb.
But it's a dumb philosophy.
I agree. But Porter on the other side,
and it makes it harder for the youngins to come up.
Right. And
how do they get in?
Porter on the other side of that, I completely disagree with 100%. I don't think there's anything that you can say that would justify that. The kid came in, he played well, he got a critical interception in a big time game, and now you're going to go back to Pat Pete or Levi Wallace. Take your pick.
Well, Pat Pete, that's the side he plays on.
Put him in,
dude.
Put him in.
Think about who they're playing this week. The Rams, right?
I know
they have
receivers.
Cooper Kupp,
yes,
who can torch them.
Yep.
And they have Pakua Nakua.
Yeah. Yep.
Who can also torch them.
They have Hakuna Matata.
Yeah, they have that. They have that too.
Our apologies to Hakuna Matata.
The fact that they're not playing him this week makes it even more astounding to me.
Yeah.
that
it actually almost seems weak. It almost seems like we know Cooper Kupp's going to get his. We don't want to discourage the youngster.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the same philosophy for playing Dan Moore Jr. in the first 3 games because of Crosby and the alike that he was going to line up against. But guess what? You have to eventually. And there's no better way to do it than to get out there and do it.
Yeah. I agree
So
with you.
yeah, that's the only negative to the bye week is people got healthy that don't need to be in there now can get back in. But one guy who did get healthy, we absolutely need Deontay Johnson.
True.
That they need him. They're going to need him this week. And I have a feeling Jaylen Warren was a little nicked up too after the game where he got like 20 touches total or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it was probably good that he got a little bit of a break because we all know they need 2 running backs. So they're going to need Warren. They're going to need Najee. They're going to need both of those guys to run. I think the way they beat the Rams, by the way, I'm not predicting they are going to beat the Rams, but the way they do beat the Rams this week is if they just run, keep the ball away from Stafford. When Stafford does have the ball, make him make a mistake.
Yeah.
Because he can make mistakes.
Well,
he makes big mistakes.
They're going to have to bring
that
pass rush. They're going to have to bring that pass rush.
So if they can sack him and get a scoop and score or something like that, then they got a chance because we know that our offense can't score as much as the defense can.
Yeah. So now that we've had an extra week to watch the rest of the NFL, do you guys still think that Kenny Pickett is not the guy or is the guy or the jury's out? I have completely decided that he is not the guy. And I get it. Some people are like, have patience. Canada's bad. I just watch him play and I don't think he's the guy.
I'd like Mark's take on this.
I would agree that he's not the guy, but I'm not going to say it's 100% definitive. Like I'd say that there's less than a 10% chance that
so pretty much he's not the guy.
Yeah, I mean it would really take a lot for him to sort of take this big leap between year 2 and 3.
I think actually what happened this week puts more credence in what the Steelers do, because if you think about it, the way the Jets beat
you just want to keep bringing that up, don't you?
No, I don't like it. Trust me, I don't like it because I hate this style of play.
Oh,
I think it's terrible.
You mean the Jets style of play?
Yeah.
Right. Well, they beat the Steelers last year too. So
well, I mean, that's a totally different team at a total different space.
Jets, Jets.
But the reality is the defense beat up on the offense and they held on just enough to be able to win the game. Now, in the case of San Francisco, it took 2 missed field goals from a rookie kicker.
Right.
San Francisco really should have won that game.
Right.
And both teams, I think, are probably equal to the Steelers. I don't think either defense is better than the Steelers, but I don't think the Steelers' defense is necessarily better than Cleveland or the Jets. Although I think they're better than Cleveland in the way they take the ball away.
Okay. So,
although I think Cleveland's run defense is much better than the Steelers' run defense without Cam.
Let me throw you this stat real quick that I heard today. Through the first 5 games of this year, the Cleveland Browns defense has given up a total of 1,002 yards. It is the best start for a defense in the history of the NFL through 5 games. Yeah. Now, it's not the whole year. That's really hard for you to digest, isn't it?
No, it's really easy.
Look at him. He's
super easy for me to digest.
He's like having conniptions.
Let me. They're
not that good.
Fluttering.
Let me blow
that's a true
that up.
Statistic.
Let me blow that up.
And then I'll blow it up secondly.
Okay, good.
Okay.
2 explosions.
The first is you have to see who they played. The Cleveland really played no offensive teams with the exception of potentially the San Francisco 49ers. And they were without their 2 weapons for 3/4 of the game.
Yeah. Bengals, Steelers, Titans, Ravens, Niners.
Exactly.
There you go.
Bunch of garbage offenses. Okay.
I would
and on top of that, this is another one of those stupid ass made up statistics to make something sound good better. It's like I've never had a losing season in my coaching career. That's great, but we don't really care about that. All we really care about here in Pittsburgh are Super Bowls and making Super Bowls and winning Super Bowls. It would be nice to win a playoff game for frick's sake.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Pittsburgh, the organization doesn't care about winning Super Bowls anymore. Of course, we're getting off on a tangent here.
So
they care about a 9-8 record.
That's all they care about.
We're
That's
a winner.
Right. So So when it comes to, the least amount of yards given up in the first 5 years, you can take that in your cram
5
hole and
games.
cram it
In my
on
cram
the floor.
In my cram
Well,
hole.
That's right.
my
your
feel,
cram hole of
my-
floor.
Is that a Yinzer word? Cram hole?
Cram it in your cram hole of floor.
There you go.
Look it up.
Yeah.
My feeling on the whole thing is like this. If you take the Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers, and the New York Jets, and you say they've got great defenses, struggling offenses, and their defenses keep them in the game, a majority of the time. The bottom line is, the game is different now. The teams that'll be standing at the end are going to be the teams that score 35 points.
I
And
bet they
this
give
is
up.
true.
I bet they give up
yeah.
600 yards to the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the
that's a lot
thing
of
is that when it comes down to it in the end,
Dolphins already have over 3,000 yards.
yeah,
Do they?
I mean that's what's gonna happen in the end because it always
Thank you,
does.
CD.
When teams don't take teams for granted anymore, they put up the big points.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Cleveland's defense is all that. I like to say things about.
You like to gaslight me. I
That's
know.
exactly right.
And you're welcome for blowing up your gaslight. Boom.
Okay,
Next subject.
Darnell Washington. Why is this guy not seeing more snaps other than he's a rookie?
Do you have an infatuation with this guy? Because he's really just a rookie, big
he's
guy.
huge.
I mean,
he is so big, and he's like he's so big that big guys in the NFL look at him and go, "Oh my God, that guy's huge."
Well,
Right.
I will.
I'll
I'll agree with the Kleininator on this one. Simply because look, I thought the idea behind drafting him was he's an extension of the offensive line.
Right.
The offensive line has struggled. The running game at times has struggled. Pass blocking has struggled. So why shouldn't he be out there? Like,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but like
the reason he's not out there is because he can't run a jet sweep.
yeah, exactly.
Well, that settles it. That settles it.
I mean, if they would put him in motion and basically made him the lead block for Najee or Jalen Warren, I bet a hole would open up.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
No, I get
They're
that.
not throwing to Freiermuth when he's in the game.
Yeah.
They're not even using him. So if you're not going to use the guy,
Right.
then put in the guy who can block 3 guys with his wingspan.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it also sets up later if you have a goal line play where he's in and they're like, oh, they always run the ball when he's in.
right.
And then, hey,
He
a
peels off.
misdirection
Right.
play
You
and
got
you throw it to Washington. He's 6'10".
Right.
Yeah.
So even Kenny could hit him in the end zone.
That's right. That's what I'm
Right.
talking about. I mean,
I also think that
Sorry, big
Washington.
Ken.
I also think that Washington might be pretty good with a tush push.
yeah.
Oh,
that's-
yeah. That's what the Eagles will take him in 3 years, and that's what they'll use. Well, no, we've already had this bet. Next year, the tush push is going to be illegal.
Yeah. And it will just completely nullify those 22 wins.
But you have to admit though, isn't it really funny when you watch all the teams around the league try to do it and nobody can do it?
Yeah. You know what?
Some of them, nobody does it like Philly.
You
That's
know what?
right,
You know
right.
what they're calling it in Philly now?
Right.
Have you heard?
The brotherly shove.
Yes, the brotherly shove.
Mhm.
Okay. So
it's just a freaking quarterback sneak. Just everybody
all
relax.
it is.
yeah, it is. It
And you
is.
know what? On most of those, I mean,
It-
I know
right.
people who don't like it show,
Right.
some guy holding on to Jalen,
Right.
Hurts and pushing him. But for the
Yeah.
most part, Hurts is doing it himself.
Right.
I mean, they
yeah,
won't
like
they
you think Kenny Gainwell gets a lot from the push from like just Jalen Hurts
Right.
get anything from Kenny Gainwell's
Yeah.
push?
or Goddard is really making it
Right.
happen back there.
Right.
Yeah. No.
It does seem like the push that they get when they do that is further and stronger. I mean, I do
Well,
think there is an advantage
Well,
to
it's because Jalen Hurts squats 600 pounds.
Yeah.
it. A lot
According to CD, he actually squats a house.
yeah. Well,
So just 600 pounds.
I
a
mean,
house,
that's
Right.
it's pretty close.
that's
Right.
probably a world record.
I don't even think we run a tush push. do
Yeah,
we?
well, the DG says with our O line, we'd lose 3 yards.
Well, it's
on
because
the push.
they would hand it backwards
Yeah.
and then do
And
the
then
tush
you'd
push.
accidentally run around. Yeah, I gotta tell you guys though, I'm actually very uncomfortable with the phrase tush push.
Okay,
And
well, we'll start.
What
saying
about brotherly
brotherly
shove?
Yeah,
What about
Do you like
brotherly
that
shove?
better?
Come to think of it, no. Let's go back to Tush Push.
I thought maybe you
horrible.
would see the light there.
Yeah. Don't use those phrases in the word "see the light" together either. Let's try
Are
to
you
stay
sure?
away. Yeah.
There's not a hole you want to go down.
Lord.
No.
I'm going to do that scene in Casino. If you can, you hear me? Can you see me on this?
Okay. All right.
That's a before show joke. Okay, so we got the Rams coming in, and in our
that's a good one by David. I think David's got a new one.
Butt plug tug. Yeah, that's
no. You're not allowed to tug. You can push. You can't tug.
Yeah,
tugging is illegal.
I like the Krista Flitch comment there. Put that one up.
Steelers run the put. Yeah.
Push.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm getting bombarded and overstimulated, which was really the wrong phrase to use.
Well, that's because Herbert was on.
All the verbiage and then the mental images. So let's move on to.
Seems like just about everything.
You had Justin Herbert without his helmet on in the warm-ups. Yeah.
It seems like just about everything is penetrating you right now.
Yeah, it's just getting a little out of hand. All right,
well, let's go to our picks. I think we need to go to our picks.
What I want to do is I want to talk about the Rams game real first. All three of us have picked the Steelers to lose this game.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to change. I think going into LA to play the Rams, I think Stafford, obviously a Super Bowl winning quarterback, a pedigree there. McVay, the offense, the receivers, our defense is good. And if it steps up to the plate and we really get some pressure on Stafford, maybe mistakes can be made there.
Yeah.
But the problem again is our cornerbacks. And once again, and I don't want to rehash this, but that just goes back to why not start Joey Porter and let him match up against Cooper Kupp or Hakuna Matata or whatever his name is. Why not? He can't be any worse. So as far as the offense goes, listen, more of the same. Deontay's back. Great. Maybe. Yeah, actually, the injury report says he's eligible to come off the IR. Does that mean he's going to play? We don't know.
Oh, yeah. Well, funny enough, you bring up Kyren Williams.
Yeah, he's out.
He is out.
Yep.
And that could be a reason they keep it a little bit closer.
Yeah.
And I think if Stafford makes a few mistakes, I think the Steelers could eke out a win here.
Yes.
I didn't see a path to victory before, but I do now. And the Rams, I think the Steelers will get out coached for sure, at least on the offensive side. I think it'll be interesting because our defense does make changes. It'll be interesting to see what happens after Stafford slices and dices us the first time down, maybe even on one pass to Cooper Kupp and he's gone, it could be that quick.
Oh, it's going to be over the top Stafford. So
but we'll see.
And Amy chimes in and with something that is so amazingly obvious. You three are so immature. I mean, come on, Amy. We had to tell people that. I mean,
anybody who watches this show, that's why they expect this kind of entertainment.
Immaturity.
Mature entertainment.
That's exactly right.
We're starting a new thing here on the porch.
No, I don't think it's new at all, to be honest with you. I think we're exposing it, to use a word that is appropriate for the conversation. And CD says, "Oh my, no running back. We got a shot." So
did you just say you exposed yourself?
Yes. No, I didn't say that.
No, he's being exposed.
Yes.
Immaturity.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a horrible thing. It really is.
So I do see a way. How about you, Mark? Do you think there is actually a way the Steelers could win this game?
Yeah, I mean, they could. I mean, look, I mean, I think the Steelers are going to be hovering around 500. I think the Rams are probably going to be the same. So, in a game like that, and anything can happen. Unfortunately, I think the difficult thing about being a Steelers fan is that, you really have to hope for big plays on defense. If no big plays come on defense, they probably have no shot.
Yeah.
But if big plays do come on defense, they have a shot. So, and
they have in the win. So I think you're dead on there.
Well, and that's the Steelers right now this year, to me, in spite of the anemic offense that they have, and it's almost like a Jekyll and Hyde defense. You've got that front four.
It does fall apart when it falls apart.
Right. You've got that front four that seems to play pretty well every game. You've got the linebackers that they turn it on and turn it off, and then you've got a horrible secondary, and that's tough. The Steelers are an enigma to me because in my
Their
mind,
defenses, I agree with you there.
well, in my mind, they should not be 3-2. In my mind, they should be, and I picked them to be 3-2 at this point in the season anyway. But
perfect.
But in my mind, they should actually be maybe 1-4, just because when I watch them, the offense really is that bad. So, that's all I'll say about that. Yo, Carey's back in the house. He's watching on YouTube, missing Ironhead so much. Yeah, Cam Hayward. Do you really think they're missing him that much?
Oh, they definitely are up the middle. Yeah,
are they?
For sure.
Yeah, in the run game.
But I think that the bye week will help it because the guys that are playing up the middle, they're getting slobber knocked, and I think having the ability to rest a little bit, I think that'll help. But they got to play against the biggest slobber knocker of them all this week.
Please, could you stop with the?
I do much prefer
Aaron Donald. I mean, he's a beast up the middle.
He is.
I think
I do prefer the kibas to the slobber knock.
The kibas to the slobber knock. All right, I'm falling apart, guys. Let's do our picks here, okay?
You never really were together.
I haven't been together today. My life is a complete and utter unmitigated mess right now. Okay, so
we can tell by the beard.
I can. You guys always know when I'm not shaving. Mm-hmm. There's some shit going down. All right, so Mark on the year is 11-4. Right. He's starting to run away with it. And
run away, Mark. Run away.
I have no idea what the strategy for me is going to be going forward. Steve is 8-7, hanging in there, and I am 6-9. I went 0-3 last week.
Yeah,
I went 0-3, and Mark went 3-0. So this week, what's your pick? We are going to be picking the Jaguars at the Saints. Schwaber, you're the winner. You go.
Terrible game.
That's a Thursday night game.
Trap game.
Trap game for the Jags, baby. Definitely.
Game for the Jags.
Yep.
Oh boy. I'm gonna go Jaguars.
I knew he would. That's because you think ATN's all that in a bag is. Never mind. Now I'm going to go with the Saints. I'll tell you why. I like that team a lot better with Kamara back.
Yeah.
I think they're a little bit more well-rounded. And Carr can really chuck the ball. I mean, he really can. So
you're trying really hard.
I am.
I know you are.
I'm going with the Saints.
You are. All right. I'm going to go with the Saints too. Next game. This one is a game near and dear to Mark's heart since the only team he's ever truly loved, for real, down deep in his soul, got crushed by the Jets yesterday. The Eagles are hosting the Miami Dolphins. Who's going to win, Schwaber?
Well, it's Kelly Green Day.
Oh,
the Kelly Green uniforms are coming out, so that can only mean one thing:
a W. For the Eagles.
Of course, it would just be like the Eagles to lose to the Jets and then come out and smack the Dolphins. No, in all honesty, I think it'll be a shootout, and I think it'll be very close. I think that the team that has the ball last will probably win the game. But I'm going to take the Eagles at home, especially after such a bad loss.
Steve?
Yeah, I like the Eagles at home. Miami definitely is the flying of the two teams. They definitely have it all going on offense, but
the flying fish.
Their defense is pretty terrible. I think the Eagles can exploit their defense, and I think the Eagles' defense will be good enough.
And you know who I'm going with?
The Fins.
The Dolphins. All right. This one. What did you say, Schwaber?
The little fishies.
The little fishies.
They have the better uniform. Sorry.
All right. Lions at the Ravens. Who'd have thought that the Lions would be so relevant?
Who would have thunk it?
Mark, I think he took them.
Yeah, he did.
I told you I believed in the Lions once I watched that
Hard Knocks
program last year.
Yep.
Lions at Ravens. You know what? I'm going to go Lions, and believe it or not, I'll tell you why. I think coaching. Something's happened with John Harbaugh, but boy, he seems like he's lost it a bit. I just don't understand a lot of his coaching decisions. I'm going Lions.
All right, Steve-O.
I don't disagree with the coaching aspect of this game. I don't think the Lions are ready for the Ravens. I think the Lions are a good team, but I think this is a game Baltimore needs to win at home to keep pace with the Steelers, and I think they'll get the win.
All right, Steve's going with the Ravens. I am actually going with the Lions. I think they're for real. I think people forget that Jared Goff did make it to the Super Bowl.
He did.
I
don't discount that Detroit team's better.
He's a talented quarterback.
But Detroit, like Baltimore, like the Cleveland Browns, like the Cincinnati Bengals, they might make it to the finals. They're never winning.
That's great. We're going to remember you said that. And Yo Carey says Jags, Saints, Eagles, Miami, Lions, Ravens. It's always the refs and replay booth who wins.
Oh, yeah. Read your scripts, guys. That's right. Get your scripts out.
Oh, man.
You got that right, Yo Carey.
You know what? How I hope it's not true. And the more football I watch, the more I think, I'll tell you what.
I think we just watch too much. I think we read into it way too much, especially with the scripting.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But you know me.
I tell you what, if you had a script, and do you think it would read verbatim for what was going on Sunday?
No. I think they're pushed in one. They're pushed in one general direction.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't tug in the other direction.
They're pushed by a slobber knocker keel boss.
Mm-hmm.
It
happens.
This is
no,
hard.
they wrote the script for both. They wrote the script for both the Niners and the Eagles to win. They just missed their field goals.
That's right. Yeah, there you go.
That is possible.
It doesn't always go as scripted.
That's
Can't
true.
Script that.
They can go off script. Yeah. I don't know. They could look. Listen, you can hit a 63-yard field goal and then a 29-yarder comes up. You can also miss that on purpose, right?
You can do anything on purpose, Chris.
Yeah, I don't think it's scripted. I'm just messing around. Okay.
No, of course we don't think it's scripted. But it is fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Because there are so many things that are just so curious.
You know what would have leaned me towards a professional sports being a little bit more scripted?
Wrestling.
If it had no, everybody knows wrestling is for real.
Sorry, kids.
What I would have leaned a little bit more towards something like that if the Phillies and the Orioles had ended up in the World Series together exactly 40 years later, the year that Brooks Robinson dies. I would have been like, there's a script somewhere. Now, of all the games that would be hard to script, I think baseball would be one of the hardest.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, and that didn't happen.
It would have been the best for ratings too.
They were it would have been good, but they were trying to throw me off the scent. The Orioles got swept for the first time in a year.
There was only one way to script baseball, and that was with a syringe.
Yeah. What? Yeah, that's
true.
That's a good point.
Or the stealing of the signals.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah. The trash cans. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Okay. So listen, football
trash cans and syringes.
Football is back next week. We all picked the Steelers to lose to the Rams. That doesn't mean that's what we hope happens. It's just what we think is going to happen. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that. Now, something that is near and dear to my heart.
It's back
because it's near and dear to Steve's heart. And that is the fact that, yes, Steve is Hockey Jesus, and Hockey Jesus is back. Hockey Jesus preaches on the podcast after every single Penguins game. And I think I lost my voice.
and don't forget to catch Hockey Jesus.
I got a drink right here. See, got to have it handy.
Hockey Jesus.
I got one handy.
And don't forget to check out Hockey Jesus on our Deportes channel.
Yeah. So
coming soon.
After every Penguins game, Hockey Jesus preaches on the Sports Porch podcast and the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. And we're 3 games in now. And this is my take. You, Hockey Jesus, think the Pens are off to a good start, right? Or wrong?
No, I do think they're off to a better start than I predicted. That's for sure. I didn't actually think that they would beat both Washington and Calgary back to back.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 3 games, but
right.
But I'm talking about the way that they're playing together. Like the power play looks good with Carlson on the line, right?
It does at times. The problem with the Pens power play is they make it too complicated than it needs to be. With the talent that's on the ice now, just pass it a couple times and then shoot the damn thing.
Right.
Like literally, I mean, Carlson is such a great distributor. He's going to find somebody who's open and let that person, whether it's Gino on the left or Sid on the right or Jake up the middle, let them decide if they want to, either tip it in, slap it in, or make that secondary pass. That's it. This back and forth down below the bottom, this switching around positions. Carlson at top, the other guys on the wings, Jake in front. Let's go. It's that simple.
From what I understand, though, the power play last year was a little bit more of kind of a free-for-all type of power play.
They're still doing that, but they've got a rotation to it.
So I was going to say, let me make my point here. It's going to take a little time, even though they've practiced together off season, all that stuff. It's going to take a little time for them to kind of gel that together. And from what I understand, it's already starting to look better. And as the year goes on, provided there's no injuries, I mean, that's where you're going to win games with the Penguins is the power play.
Absolutely. That's definitely where they're going to have to.
Are you impressed with my hockey knowledge now at this point? Our relationship?
I am. I'm glad that I could depart some of my knowledge onto you so you could bring it back to me.
It's all osmosis, buddy. Your osmosis. Sorry, guys.
But so I think, the Pens are off to a good start. They got 4 out of 6 points. They lost to Chicago, a team they shouldn't have lost to. By the way, I was at that game. This Penguin team is so much fun to watch.
There you go.
They are just incredible to watch live. There's never a dull moment. There's never a lead that you're like, oh my God. Like after they scored 3 goals in the third period, the last goal against Calgary, I still wasn't comfortable that they were going to win the game until they got the 5th goal and it was 5-1.
Right.
Well, really it was 4. It was 4. It was 4-1 when it went to 4-2. Yeah. I mean, once again, when there's 5 minutes left in the game and you're up by 2 goals, you're going to win 95% of those games. So you're feeling pretty good about that. But even when the Pens were up early against Chicago in the first game, they were up 1-0, and I'm like, they need to get another goal, and they got another goal, and I'm like, okay, I feel a little better. And then Chicago came back and scored against it, and I'm like, I just didn't felt good about that game just because of the way the Penguins play. They're not going to slow down. They're not going to stop playing hockey. They're not going to stop chasing the puck. They're not going to stop trying to score goals. And that could be a problem moving forward. We'll see. I mean, this week they play at Detroit, which will actually be a very interesting game on Wednesday because Detroit likes to play that fast style. So it'll be interesting to see if they try and skate. I actually thought the Penguins' problem would be third period like it was against Chicago. And then they came out and laid a turd in the first period when they played against Washington and then completely decided just to blow out Washington after that. And they actually got kind of hit by a hot goalie when they played Calgary on Saturday in the first period and into the second period. But then they came out smoking in the third. So I think the problem with the Penguins are they can't play 3 full periods. They kind of pick which period they're going to take off. And that's okay when you're playing against okay talent, but when you have to play against really good talent, and Detroit isn't really good talent, by the way, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. But when you're going to be playing against Dallas on the 24th or Colorado on the 26th at home, in Ottawa that Saturday, those will be the games. I'll talk a little bit more about that next week to see what they do against these mediocre teams. So I actually think they could probably beat both of these teams on the road, but they'll probably split. Probably end up getting a loser point. The bright spot, by the way, is their backup goalie, the Djokovic.
Needle Nose Ned.
Yeah, Needle Nose Ned. Ned the Head.
Yeah, he pitched a shutout.
He did.
Ned the Head.
Well, no, he actually did give up a goal.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Jari got the shutout the night before against Washington. What it was.
Yeah, and DG has a comment. Were they just giving Jari a rest when he wasn't in the net?
Well, supposedly they only want Jari to play about 50 games, so that leaves about 30, 32 games for Ned.
You really got to hope your secondary goaltender plays well if you're going to play him that many games.
Yeah,
it's a lot of games.
I mean, so he, like I tweeted out, and you guys definitely need to subscribe to the Hockey Jesus and make sure you're following me after every game.
Okay.
And
you got to put @Hockey Jesus under your thing for the next show.
That's right. You know what? I didn't put my new logo up yet on my X account.
Yeah,
I got to get to that.
Is it one word @Hockey Jesus, or is it Hockey_Jesus?
I have to look it up. Don't worry.
You made it. Why do you have to look it up? You created it.
Well, because
you are Hockey Jesus.
No, I changed it. Remember, because it was like Hockey Jesus 6 or something like that. Because there are a lot of hockey out there.
A lot of Hockey Jesus.
There's a lot of pretenders.
There's a lot of pretenders. There's only one real hockey.
There's a lot
Jesus.
of snake oil salesmen.
Preaches after every
Hockey Jesus.
False prophets.
So yeah, Pens are off to a great start.
Son
Hockey
of God.
is amongst us, and son of a slobber knocker.
I hate that word. I hate that word.
Well, it's only for you, Chris.
I have a lot of hate tonight. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Hockey's back. You should be watching hockey every night that you're not watching football.
Wow. That's quite a commitment.
Have yourself a strudel and sick the heck down.
Oh, strudel. Where's the strudel come from?
Strudel, the Swedes.
Strudel, Sloganakas.
Wait, strudel, that's German.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure they make strudel all over.
Yeah, so basically, Jari is going to get a rest more often than not. Some people actually think that he could be pushed for a starting role. I don't see that happening, but I do like the fact that, he did save like 26 of 27 shots in the game he was in.
Yeah.
I don't think that's something DeSmith ever did.
Yeah.
So it definitely is an upgrade at that position. And the guy seems real confident. I mean, he's only had one really good season, his rookie year with Carolina in a backup role. And last year he really kind of took off. He didn't really play much. So I'm hoping he's ready to, get a little bit more eyeballs on him.
What about Riley Smith? How do you feel about him? The early returns are that he's a good fit.
I think the best thing about him is he can finish. And this is the advantage of having a left-handed shot coming off the right wing. I think it just causes so many problems for the goalie.
Because the goalie's looking for it to his left.
Yeah, well, if you're a right-handed shot, then really you're taking away the other shot to the glove side usually.
Right.
So all you can really do is kind of roof it up into the corner, and if you take away the corner, then it's hard to do the other shot. Well, this goalie kind of has to stay in the middle when Riley Smith's coming down, and he finished on 2 really nice goals. So that's really exciting for me to see. And actually, the goal that he scored against Washington was kind of a nothing goal, but that was his first. And I was like, that really was important for him, because if he gets on a roll where he feels like he can have a good scoring opportunity every night, he's going to score one every other night. If he can score 25 goals, the Penguins are in for some real gold when it comes to that position. And it looks like he does have some chemistry with Gino, which is really important. Raquel's kind of getting lost on the other side, but he's still getting assists, so I'm not worried about that at all.
I think if you listen to the Hockey Jesus after the games on the podcast, you will hear that. You talked about that when Riley Smith scored his first goal. You said that's a very important thing, and he followed that up by scoring 2 more. So I think the Penguins are off to a good start. I think that Dubas has done a great job in retooling that team, and there's a different chemistry. What it means for the rest of the season, it's too early to tell. But there's talent on the team, and there's talent that seems to be able to adjust to the other talent on the ice. And I think that the goaltending is still going to be the big issue.
Oh, I agree, but I tell you what, seeing Nedeljkovic in goal on Saturday
made you feel better.
It really did. I mean, it made me think, oh yeah, he's gonna be fine. If Jari gets hurt and he's got to come in, he's gonna be good for just more than a couple games. Like he could. I think he could take it over. And plus, that means Magnus comes up, your buddy, the 6'7".
God, I want to see the Centurion Magnus.
I like the Joker.
You like the Joker.
Yep. I like the Joker.
Just hunched down over his microphone, just throwing out stuff to see if it sticks.
The Joker.
That was the wrong word to use too. So, all right, guys, listen, next week we got football coming back, and it'll be good to see. Actually, it'd be good to see the Steelers play. I hope they come out with a new offense. I got a feeling they're going to.
Well, they've had 2 weeks to think about it.
That's a joke, son.
They've had 2 weeks to think about it.
Hey, Pens only play Wednesday and Saturday. There's no reason why you can't watch both of those games this week.
That's exactly right. You will always hear the Hockey Jesus preaching on the podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. the Sports Porch. We encourage you and thank you for subscribing. Leave us a review if you listen to the podcast. And if you can only watch a portion of the show, you can always just go back and listen to it again and again and again and again and again, like I do. And
and the thing about this is it's just us. You're never going to have to pause for a commercial.
That's exactly right.
It's just us.
Yep.
You got us for at least 45 minutes. What else could be better in life?
Yeah, I know. Seriously. I mean, this is the only thing that
absolutely nothing.
That's exactly right, Schwaber. This is the only thing that gives me joy and purpose in life. This is it. Being in front of this microphone with you guys. That's it.
I think it's time to see your therapist.
Very nice.
As fate would have it, I have an appointment.
All right.
Wednesday.
I am out.
All right, guys, real quick. Favorite dessert?
I
just hit you with one.
I got it. Are you ready?
Go for it.
This weekend, we were in Philly, right? Had this brunch. We were having brunch, and it was at a kind of a Mexican place. And I'm like,
what is kind of a Mexican place?
Well, they have
Santa Fe
breakfast tortillas and stuff like that.
Yeah, but what was the name of this place?
I don't remember
that made it kind of Mexican.
I don't remember.
La Caliente
Cafe Lift. I don't know. I don't remember the name of the place.
Chili's. Is that kind of Mexican?
No.
All right. Anyway,
let me get to the point. So brunch is over, and we're kind of like, we need something else. We need something else.
Right.
And I'm like, let's get dessert for brunch. You ever get dessert for brunch?
Sure.
No,
yeah.
I can't recall.
So they had this Mexican chocolate cake made with, Mexican chocolate, and it had passion fruit.
I'm out.
And
Schwarber lead off.
Oh, we gotta lead off Homer. All right, Schwaber.
Bye, Schwaber.
You have a good day.
He's just gonna leave us.
He's just look at that.
Look at that.
He's got to go watch the
leave
Eagles
the blank screen up.
Let's do that.
Leave the blank screen up. In case Amy, if you want to come in and fill in for Mark, just jump in.
Why don't you come in and tell us Mark's dirty little secrets?
Or Amy, you could share your favorite dessert with us. That would be incredible.
Absolutely, because I'm sure your favorite dessert isn't sitting on the couch watching the Phillies game.
Oh my God. So the chocolate cake, it has chipotle in it. In the cake.
Chipotle.
Yeah.
It's the peppers.
The peppers. So it's a little chocolatey, but it's a little spicy. And it has passion fruit and like vanilla cream on it. And the passion fruit's like super sweet.
Right.
But it's really sour too.
Gotcha.
And it was just the most incredible dessert I've ever had. Even Susan said, I think this might be the best dessert I've ever had. And Susan's had a lot more desserts than I've had.
Yeah. So it's a Mexican chocolate cake.
Mexican chocolate cake with chipotle flavor.
Was it like a flourless chocolate cake?
Yeah, it was it wasn't dense. It was like really light.
Okay, so then it had flour in it. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it had like
maybe it was like
dollops.
a souffle. Was it a souffle?
She said that she thought maybe was like a sponge cake, but it didn't look like a sponge cake. It looked like just a regular cake.
Right. Okay.
And then on the inside, it had like mousse in it, chocolate mousse in it. And in the mousse, it had like more. Yeah, it had like, it was like even more like
chipotle
spicy. Yeah.
So how did you feel when you took that bite of chocolate with the passion fruit, which to me goes together?
Right.
And then all of a sudden your tongue was burning.
Yeah.
Schwarber and Harper, first inning homers.
There you go. So
right. I'm out.
Wait a minute. What did I say on the Philly porch? Jump out to an early lead.
Jump out to an early lead. Gonna get a win.
You said that.
All right. Enjoy, Schwaber. Go Fightins. Oh, and now he kicks himself out.
Yeah, because he knew Amy would have taken.
Amy was out there going, Mark, they want me to come on and talk about my favorite desserts. I don't even know what dessert is.
Oh, she eats desserts.
Oh, I'm sure she does.
Mark is a classic dessert guy.
Oh, dude.
He eats desserts everywhere he goes.
Yeah. I'll give you my favorite dessert.
Tell me.
It's really simple.
Apple pie.
Almost. Chocolate chip cookies. That's
yeah.
Love
But for dessert,
cookies.
that's more like a snack to me.
It is, but throw a chocolate chip cookie down on the table after a big steak, and I'm just as good as if I get a chocolate mousse or a
like the kind they like bake and they like comes to you like piping hot.
Yes.
You like have to eat it with a fork.
Yes. Then I go home and drink an entire gallon of milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's a dessert.
Favorite gangster movie?
Well, it's definitely not Casino.
I know. Can you feel me? Can you hear me? I don't know if anybody listening or watching remembers Casino, but I'm sure you do. But there's a scene in Casino that I always thought was one of the weirdest scenes ever in the movies, but I loved it. It's when Sharon Stone's character is at her wedding to Robert De Niro, and she calls her old boyfriend, Lester, who's played by James Woods, and she's kind of saying goodbye to him on the phone, and he's talking to her while cutting a line of cocaine with a razor blade and some hooker, and he's sweet talking her, and he's like, "Do you remember me? Do you remember the first time you saw me? I remember you. I remember the first heartbeat ever." And he's talking to her like that. I've been talking to Steve like that.
It's been awful. I really can't wait to go home and have a chocolate chip cookie. Oh, by the way, favorite gangster movie? Just thought of it. Johnny Dangerously.
Nah, come on. That's a comedy.
It's a great gangster movie.
It is. I love
Michael Keaton.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. And isn't Chaz Palminteri in that too?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I don't yell at my mother. I yelled at my mother once. People don't even realize today that when guys our age say that, that's the movie we're quoting.
Yeah, no, they have no clue, especially youngsters.
While we're kind of winding down the show and people are starting to drop off here, and
Keenan Allen got a touchdown.
Too bad for you. So
he needs to get like 4 more, which he could.
Okay,
he could against Dallas.
Well, and it's early too. So we're gonna have a new segment coming up, and our new segment is going to be movie quotes. That's what we're going to do.
Oh, yeah.
That's definitely what we're going to do. All right, listen, guys, this means it's time for me to start the music.
Let's do it.
When the music starts. All right, as always, I want to thank you for all of us for watching the Sports Porch on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on X, all over the world live. And if you don't catch us live, I'm going to drop this podcast. Yes, I still have work to do. I'm going to drop this podcast right after this show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And you can always catch us on theporcheslive.com, theporcheslive.com,
theporcheslive.com.
All right, guys, you have a good week, and we'll catch you on the rebound. No tush pushes. I am your technical director, and I am out. Let's go, Pens. Boom, bam, boom.